If you've gone to all the trouble of going to get your own authority, the next logical step, if you're going to survive in the trucking industry, is to get your own direct customers. This video is sponsored by Lanefinder. When freight rates are low and freight is hard to find, like it is right now, no trucker can afford to be giving between 20 and 50% of his load revenue away to a load broker. Independent truckers need to move away from load brokers if they're going to survive. Independent truckers cannot survive losing a slice of their profit to anyone else, and that's why getting direct customers are so important. The load broker industry is just rife with corruption, and you can't afford to lose any money in a climate like this. Load brokers are not what you want to base your business on because they don't have your best interests at heart. They're only interested in money. A load broker's job is to move the freight as cheaply as possible. And you don't want to be one of those guys that's hauling the cheapest freight on the highway. You cannot survive that way. Truckers cannot survive and build their business around relying on load brokers. You have to find direct freight. It's a little more awkward, it takes a lot more legwork and a lot more time, but it's well worth it in the long run. If you're starting to look for direct customers, my first suggestion is to look close to home. Knock on doors. Watch what's going on in these warehouses around where you live and find out where that freight is going. Perhaps you've hauled some of this freight out of these local factories for load brokers. It's important to know where the good freight is, and you just do that by research, knocking on doors, introducing yourself to shippers, and finding out what it is they've got and where it goes. The second thing you should consider is that you don't want to, if you're a small business trucker like most of us are, you don't want to be wasting your time soliciting giant manufacturers and customers, huge customers, because they don't want to do business with you. They're already locked into a couple load brokers or a couple mega carriers. You want to target the smaller or middle-sized manufacturers and shippers, someone that you can develop a personal relationship with and get to know them, let them get to know you, spend time with them, find out what they want, and help them service their customers as best as you possibly can. Most shippers are just primarily concerned with getting their freight in good shape from point A to point B. And they don't want to worry about it. They've got tons of other worries in their business. They want a carrier that they can rely on to do the job right every time. And that's what really they're looking for. And if you pay attention to their needs and give them what they want every time and are reliable, they'll be happy with you and they won't change. Now, another way to find freight is look at your invoices from past loads that you've done for load brokers. Find out who paid you slowly or who didn't pay you at all, and then go to their customers, the ones that you picked up the freight for, and solicit them directly. Now, you might want to wait 90 days because some load brokers have that in a contract that they'll send you, but no shipper is going to turn you away if you're honest with them and tell them the truth. Tell them, I really liked pulling your freight, it worked out very well for me, but my problem was that the load broker never paid me, or he paid me in 120 days, and I can't survive that way. Be honest with them. Tell them you really want to work with them, you just don't want to pay this unreliable load broker a slice of it. Lanefinder is the ultimate job platform to help truck drivers find the jobs that they want. There are filters on the platform so that when drivers research carriers, they can narrow down their search to find the carriers best suited for them. You can find out the size of the fleet, where they run, the type of equipment that they have, and all without having to talk to a recruiter. I highly recommend Lanefinder to help truck drivers find the best driving jobs out there. Check them out at lanefinder.com. Now, I always preferred running a dedicated lane myself, so once I established my outbound customer and I knew where I was going to land and deliver their freight, that would give me time to find a direct backbound customer. Now, to survive and get home, you may have to use load brokers every once in a while until you develop a direct customer at that other end. And if you're going to do that, by God, use a reliable load broker, one at least you know that's going to pay you. Don't just pick anybody off a load board and hope it works out. Pick a good, solid, reliable load broker. Yep, the rate might not be the greatest, but it'll get you home and at least you'll get paid. Another way to find direct customers is to keep your ear to the ground. Pay attention to what's going on. Talk to other truck drivers. I scored my best customer just by associating with other truck drivers. I found out who they were hauling for, who they recommended, who had good freight, and pay attention to that little information that you can get over the CB or in the truck stop at dinner time, and sometimes a tip from one of those guys will turn out to be a really good deal in the long run for you. If you do find a direct customer that ships into a more remote area of the country, when you're looking for your backhaul freight, remember that you're going to run deadhead or empty for a couple 100 miles perhaps to find your backhaul freight. So when you're quoting that direct customer, make sure you bid high enough to cover those deadhead miles so you're not eating that, you're not losing that. You want to build that into your downbound rate. Trucking can still be a good living, and I enjoyed trucking always, but you've got to keep a business sense about you, because truly this is all about money. So you can't be running around looking great at $1.30 a mile. You've got to bear the business in mind, concentrate on the business, concentrate on the revenue, and that's how truckers will survive through this tough period, 23-24. Stay safe, keep the rubber side down, go get direct customers, don't rely on load brokers, and I'll see you on the backhaul.